First off, welcome. Goddamn it, welcome. Where you at? You ready?
This is the Bernie's Daughter Podcast.
I ain't scared of you, motherfucker.
The show where you get a front row seat to the magic,
Where you at?
humor, and wisdom of the late, great Bernie Mac, as seen through the eyes of his loving daughter.
I don't care about you talking about me.
And his famous friends.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Bernie's Daughter Podcast. I am your humble host, Je'Niece McCullough, mostly known to y'all as Bernie's daughter, because y'all know that's what y'all call me, like I ain't got no name, but that's all right. I'm so excited. My guest today is a remarkably talented woman. She's an award-winning actress, and I ain't talking about no poo butt award. I'm talking NAACP Image Award, BAFTA, Critics' Choice, Academy Award winning. She's lit up both the small and the big screens. She's a legendary comedian who's been making us laugh for decades, and she is always unapologetically herself. Her most recent Netflix special, My Name is Monique, has topped the most viewed chart on Netflix, and I'm just excited. So please welcome to the show, the queen of comedy herself, Monique.
Hey, Bernie's daughter. Hey, my sweet baby.
Oh gosh, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have you on here.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be here, baby.
Oh man, listen, this is just this whole project is a love affair, and it's one of those things that I feel like my dad had his hand in, because I was sitting at home doing laundry when my producer called me and said, okay, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I've been following you and I really think you should do a podcast where you talk about your dad. And I told her if she had asked me this 6 months ago, I would have told her, no, absolutely not. But that day, I just felt like this push, like, no, that's what you need to do. And so here we are. And so you, like I said, you were the first person we reached out to. And when you said yes, like, that blew my mind. And that for me was the confirmation that, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. So
I had to say yes, because your daddy would have come back and slapped me in the back of my head, like, you ain't gonna talk about doing it, Mom. You know, it is something that when you have been around such greatness and been around that type of legend and that type of icon, but to be around him as my brother, without those titles and labels, to have experienced Bernie Mac protecting me and holding my hand. And there was a time we were in Vegas when we were doing Kings and Queens of Comedy, right? And I had never had pearls, okay? And I got a little bit of money, right? So I go into the jewelry store and I want to buy a string of pearls, right? Now I'm willing to pay about $10,000. Listen, I didn't know no better, okay? So I see your daddy walking by the store by himself. I'm in this jewelry store by myself. I said, Bernie, come here. Well, the owner of the store was like, I sold to Michael Jackson. I sold to Mike. He was naming all these people. And it irritated your dad. He said, you trying to drop names on my sister? Like, that's supposed to mean something. He said, come on up out of here. I don't trust him and I don't like that. You don't do that to my sister. I was like, my brother, no, he was that. Yeah, he was that. And that's what I believe for me is so missed.
yes.
He was that, and he was that to the community of us. I don't know nobody that has a bad Bernie Mac story. And if they do, they lying.
Listen, I just told a friend of mine the other day, I said, listen, it's been 15 years. If he really was like somebody we didn't know, somebody by now would have been like, hey, let me say something. And even then, we all would have been like, no.
Side mouth.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And thank you, because that's the thing. That's one of the reasons that I really want to do this, because my dad was not just, an iconic comedian, but he was just a really great guy. And I really want people to see him for the depth of his humanity and not just as a 2D character. You know, I love that people still love the show. I love that people still love his stand up. I love that, but I want them to see beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But you know, even with the show and the comedy, we saw beyond that.
You did.
Because Bernie gave us him. He didn't give us a character. Yeah. He didn't give us, I'm this way when the cameras are off and I'm this way when the cameras are on. He gave us him. So even through the business, we still got to see Bernie Mac. Yeah. Like people that didn't know him still felt like if they was walking, hey, Mac, they ain't never met that man before in their life and they on the trash truck. You know, even through that. And I think there are very few people that can do that, where you see them through their characters, through everything. You still see them. You see their joy. You see their humanity. You see their love. And that's what your daddy possessed.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I always tell people I feel like he never met a stranger because everybody always felt like they knew him. Yes. From young to old, like you said, we go out places and people were just like, yeah, there was the element of being starstruck because people were like, oh my God, it's Bernie Mac. But they approached him like they were approaching like the uncle or the cousin, you know? So, yes. Yeah.
You be in Costco. Yeah. Mac, what you doing in here? The same damn thing you doing in here.
That's exactly what he was saying.
Yes.
Yes. So you and my dad, you all both came up from like those humble beginnings, you know, Chitlin Circuits, and then, Def Jam hit and did something amazing for comedy. What was it like back then, watching my dad perform just as, a fellow peer and comedian?
Our mouths would be open because he was so authentic. There was you almost felt like I didn't think that Bernie Mac ever wrote a joke, because Bernie Mac was saying, this is just who I am. And if you find the humor in it, come on the ride. But, I remember we were doing Atlanta, right? And it was 44,000 people at the Georgia Dome. It's sold out. Let me tell you the biggest compliment your daddy ever gave me. So when I come off stage, he walks up to me and said, God damn, Monique, did you leave anything for me? I was like, oh, Bernie, I love you for that. Like, it was those moments that there was no competition. There was no competing. There was, can I take my hand and hand it down to you? And let me pull you in. So when we were doing Kings and Queens, I got a chance to watch brilliance at its finest without an ego. And that's hard to do. And very few people can do that. Very few people can be great and their heads not be this big.
Yeah.
Bernie was great, but his humility it made you learn. You sat there and you were just like, come on, brother, show him how it's done. Show us how it's done. So performing with your dad was a gift. It was a gift to watch that man. I remember one night, okay, and I am saying this for the first time, having Bernie's daughter. Share it, baby, because it tickled the sugar honey iced tea out of me. Okay, because I don't know if everybody's grown that's going to be watching this. So we backstage, right? And at the time, Steve Harvey had the Nation of Islam as his security. Remember that? Mm-hmm. And they were all in line. You know how the brothers do, and they stand it. So Steve decides he's going to do the Malcolm X move. And he does like this, and then does this, right? So your father said, "Is it a goddamn bomb threat around here somewhere? What's going on?" Listen, I let because it was so honest, because he just walked right into it. So don't nobody know, all we see is this. Freddie was like, what is going on? It's just those sweet. Okay, so when I did a show, right, he had a spread in his dressing room. You hear me?
He was serious about some food now. He was serious about food.
Bread. And he said, Mo, whatever you want going up there, relax, just like you were home.
Yeah.
So those are all of my stories, but I'm sure anybody you ask are going to have their private stories with Bernie Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Touched everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't care. One thing that I've always loved and admired about my dad is that he didn't care. Like he would say, I'm no respecter of persons. It didn't matter who you were. It wasn't about hobnobbing with, rubbing elbows with, A-listers or anything. It was everybody. Everybody got treated the same. Hey, come on in. How are you? Come on. And that's how he was at home. Like there were so many times he would have some, an event and somebody would say, well, I can't come. I got my cousin, bring them along. Tell them come on too. It was just, hey, the more the merrier.
Yes. That's who he was 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Like he had a heart of gold. He really did. When we talk about his comedy, because you can't talk about him without talking about his comedy. And I know you were saying what made him so relatable was that we saw through him. What else do you think it was about his comedy that just made it so iconic? Because somebody said to me on TikTok not too long ago, they were like, Bernie wasn't just, a comedian to us. He was part of our culture. And when she said that I was just like, hey, you know what? Huh, you're right.
Yes. And this is why I say for today's comedian, I feel bad for them. Because it's so much that they're missing. That road made us strong. That driving 27 hours to make $50 made us strong. It gave us a different kind of go get it. And here's the one thing that I'm most proud about your daddy. Most people that reach that kind of fame, they have to bend. Most people that reach that type of success, they gotta compromise. And the day I saw them doing the photo shoot for the Bernie Mac show, and they kept trying to put that baby on his lap. Mm-hmm. And your daddy said, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But that's who he was. So he impacted the culture, but in so many different ways other than just being funny. He showed Black men what it was to be a respectable Black man. He showed Black men what it was to stick in there and hang in there with your family. Mm-hmm. Like just the things he was saying and what he was doing in his actions. So to say your daddy impacted the culture, your daddy was the damn culture.
Man, it's one of those things I tell people all the time. I got a front row seat to it. I saw it happening, but he was still dad to me. So there are always these moments. Like, while I logically know and understand it, there are always these moments that happen that it just is like, damn, man, I have to go, well, you know what? Oh, man, you're right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And he did. Bernie Mac never carried himself like he made it. Bernie Mac still carried himself like he was doing open mic night in Chicago, okay? He still carried, like he was at all jokes aside. He still had that walk about him that says, this is a gift. Mm-hmm. And I don't take this gift for granted. Mm-hmm. And it's not mine. Mm-hmm. Like Bernie, and he's never said this, but I feel like this, that Bernie would have said, I can't explain to you why I'm funny because I'm gifted.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you where it comes from. Yes, I have to master my craft and I work on my craft, but it's a gift. And we knew you have a lot of talented people. You have very few gifted people.
Yeah.
Bernie Mac was gifted.
Yeah.
And for the babies that never got a chance to meet him, I feel sorry for them.
I say that all the time. I do. I say that all the time because for me, I'm so grateful that I got 30 years with him. But I tell people all the time, it's because of the 30 years that I had that I know what I'm missing now. So that makes me look at the people who never got to see it like, you missed out. Man, you missed out on something great. Because they don't make them like that.
You broken home.
Yes.
Yeah. Baby, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that you say he was gifted, because that's another thing that people will always say to me, you know, thank you so much for, you know, your sacrifice or for sharing your dad. And I'm like, you can't give me credit for that, because there's nothing that I or anyone else could have ever done to stand in the way of what he was purposed to do. That was his gift. And it was bigger than all of us.
But never made you feel like
that part.
It was bigger than you.
That part.
Like, and that's challenging too. Being the entertainer and having children, right? And I didn't want to be, I know for me, I never wanted to be the entertainer that the world got one thing. But when I came home, they got something else. Yeah. It's like, I got to make sure they're getting the best of me. Because when it's all said and done, it's my family. And that's what Bernie kept putting out there. It's your family. It's your family. It's your family. So me and you could go on and on and on about your daddy. And what I'm not going to do is mess up my makeup, because I had to sit still for about 2. Hey.
I love it. I'm like, oh, I did good on my lashes today. I don't want to cry.
Okay. It was just, I think that 100 years from now, when we're no longer here, and they'll show a picture of your daddy, and the research and the history and the conversations that people will have, your daddy is in the same breath. When we say Richard Pryor, we say Bernie Mac, because every generation has that one. He was our one. He was our one. And again, very few can do that, baby. And he didn't lose his mind.
No,
he didn't use himself.
I marvel at that. Of course, there were things that I witnessed, like he had to learn how to get used to having money and, you know, things like that. But there was never a point in his career that I looked at him and was like, who are you? Like, what happened to my dad? Like, that didn't happen. It was always like, yeah, that's him. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like I love that you said that, like 100 years from now, because that's another reason why I wanted to do this podcast, because I don't want his legacy to be in the hands of anybody else. You know, I want to be able to, if you're going to talk about my daddy, I want you to get it right. And I want, you know, like I said, I want people to see and know and tell it, as he would say, like a TI is.
Come on.
As you know, we know that there's going to be a day that I'm not going to be here, but I want to put as much out as I possibly can. So like you said, so that 100 years from now, when nobody's here, you come across this and you see everybody just speaking his praises and talking about the wonderful man and entertainer that he was.
You can't erase greatness.
Yeah.
You can erase talent, but you can't erase greatness.
Oh, I'm happy. I got to keep that.
There are people we talk about now that we didn't hear of, we didn't know about, but their greatness kept inching through. It kept inching through to now we can talk about, you know, when there are sisters, and I made sure that I did my homework and my research. As I was getting in this business and as I'm in this business, I make it my business to read about the sisters that came before me, so I can understand that my family is important and my family is my top priority. Because most Black women entertainers, not all, but a lot, they left here brokenhearted,
yep,
mentally sick, physically sick, spiritually sick. So I had to make it my business to research and inspect what I expect. That's why I'm able to stand the way I stand, because I knew that some of those sisters couldn't take that position. So, but they still don't fade out. because their greatness kept shining through.
Well, you said a word right there with that. Yes. Yes, indeed. And I was going to ask you about that because for my dad, it was a juggling act, but he had a Rhonda at home. You know, my mom was at home holding down the fort.
Everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Just so we clear about it, that's me. Everybody knew Mrs. McCullough. Okay, just yeah.
That's just, we would be at home. I mean, he'd be calling, did you just have a show? Oh, yeah, I got something to eat. I came back to the hotel. It should be like, oh, yo, I wish she'd go to the after party sometime.
No,
he stayed. Yeah.
So it was the after party, right in his hotel room talking to his good evening.
Phone ring, hello. Hey, what's the word? What's going on? What y'all doing? Like,
right.
But yeah, like you said, for most, it's different for women because the expectation is that women are the ones holding down the fort. And I love that you said, you did your research to make sure that you didn't go down that same path. What other steps did you take to make sure that you walk that balance? Because that's motherhood, marriage, career. That's a lot. So
initially, I was on the same path to destruction. This is my third marriage, right? And I have 2 sets of children, an older set and the twins, right? And youngest set. And initially, I was everywhere at everything all the time because, this is what your agent is telling you, your manager is telling you. And my relationship with my older son, it suffers even today because I wanted to, you get in your mind, okay, I want to make sure they don't need for nothing. I want to make sure that, we don't have to live like I had to grow up. Well, something gets sacrificed. And in that sacrifice, it was my oldest son. So you really don't know him, and he really doesn't know me because we were like ships passing in the night. Mommy was gone, so there were no PTA meetings. There were no football games and baseball games because I didn't have time. I wasn't reading any bedtime stories because I was tired. You got to understand that. So I prayed for another chance. I prayed to please give me another chance, right? And I got married to my best friend from 10th grade since we were 14 years old. And I was on the path of destruction, but when I tell you this king had to sit me down and the conversations that he was having with me, it allowed me to say, please, universe, don't let me mess this up. Don't let me get in my own way because it's easy to do. That's why I said it is hard to be gifted and your ego not go like this. I'm speaking from experience, not from what somebody told me. I know what it is to look at people and say, in your family, and feel like, listen, just do it because I said it. I'm writing the checks.
Yeah.
I don't need to give you an explanation. And that was taking me to a place of loneliness, desperation, and you got money. But the loneliness and the desperation goes hand in hand because what you do is you just find somebody to fill the void for the moment.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go sleep by myself tonight. And I can pick them because I'm famous. Right? But then when you get with a king and you get with this man and he says, listen, I've been knowing you since 10th grade. So I'm unimpressed what everybody else is impressed with because I in a way that they don't know you. Mm-hmm. And if you keep going the way that you're going, me and the boys will be at your funeral. Woo. Okay. So I had to catch me. And I had to catch me in a way where when I went through that blackball, Je'Niece, initially I thought it was the worst thing that could have happened because I'm like, I did it right. But actually it was the best thing that could have happened because it bonded me with my family in a way that I didn't even know it was possible. I've not missed one game Let me tell you something, baby. When my babies was playing baseball, you would have thought every game was the World Series because I was at every game and I didn't give a damn if they struck out, missed the play, hit the ball. One time I was so loud, my husband said, Mama, everybody out here don't need to know you here. I said, everybody needs to know that I'm here.
Right. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes.
To every play that my son was in the theater. It allowed me to go to every football game. It allowed me to rub my husband's feet at night. It allowed me to get in that kitchen and learn how to bake a cake from scratch. It allowed me to be a wife and a mother fully, not part-time, not how do you bet. It just allowed me. So for the ones that put me in that position, thank you, Oprah. Thank you, Tyler.
All right now.
Thank you, Lionsgate. Y'all gave me something that I understand you don't have. Called a family.
Yeah.
So it allowed me, the universe said, you asked us to give you a second chance. Now we got to show you how to take this second chance.
I love it. I love it. Oh gosh, I love it. That's so powerful because I think so often when it comes to, you know, the outside audience is looking at what you all do. Y'all make it look easy. And like my dad used to say, you know, you see the finished product, you see the red carpets, you see the award shows, you see the movies, and it looks like it's so great. And so many people think I would give anything to have that. And meanwhile, you all are on that side of like, yeah, I like having this career, but I think this is worth nothing if I don't have my family.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Yeah. And too many people don't understand, like, you can't have it all and not at the same time. Something's going to happen.
Yes, you can.
You can't? Okay.
Let me tell you how you can.
Okay.
As long as you know the priority. See, when your daddy said, after the show, I'm going back to my hotel room. I got to make sure my family is good.
Yeah.
So you can have it all because we've been taught, especially Black women, you can't have it.
Come on now.
They really mean to us. You can't have it all. So I bought into it too. No judgment. I bought into it. But now, as my husband said to me, Mama, prioritize things.
Yeah.
Because when I'm taking my last breath, I guarantee you not a damn soul in Hollywood will be at my bedside. So when they say to me, Monique, well, we need you for this and this and this and this. You know what, baby? You can have me for this. But this and this and this, I got baseball games and softball games. I got to make sure my man is good. So I got you this. But these other things,
yes.
You know, so you can have it all, baby. I have it all right now. You hear me, Je'Niece? I have it all.
Oof, oof, I love it. I love it. And thank you for saying that. Thank you for putting the perspective on it. Because like you said, so often that is because you see, I just said, like, we always say, yeah, you can, but you think you got to sacrifice one for the other, and you don't. And in you saying that, you just made me remember. Like, I remember when my dad's health really started failing, and he got sick. Like you said, Hollywood, they didn't care. My dad was in the hospital fighting with pneumonia. The doctors had just told us because of his sarcoidosis, he was really operating with the capacity of one lung. And I'll never forget, called and said, well, yeah, I know you're in the hospital, but we got this one scene to do. So how about I just send a car, you come do the scene, and then we'll take you right back to the hospital. And at that day, I think something kind of broke a little bit with my dad in terms of like having the career. He was like you said, the priority. The show he prioritized because there was a whole crew of people. He was like, people's, lives, their livelihood is at stake with the show. So the show he prioritized, but the movie, he was just kind of like, no, y'all will get it when I get out. And he was like, right now, I'm sitting here with my family. When I get out, I'm going back home with my family and, whatever.
Right. They'll tell you they love you.
Yes, they do.
As long as you're giving them what they want. Yeah. And I am, I remember this guy named Glenn, and I can't remember his last name right now. White brother named Glenn. And I appreciated his honesty. I was doing a pilot for a talk show years ago. He said, listen, just so we clear, as long as you're making us money, we'll send you flowers, candies. When your birthday comes, we give you the greatest gifts. The moment you stop making us money, we act like you don't exist. I said, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because that's what we're saying.
How do you call me and I'm on my hospital bed?
Yeah.
My health is declining. And you're saying, just give me one scene.
Yep.
And we'll take you right back. What if I die on the way?
That's exactly what he said. He said, how you going to take me back if I die on the set? Then he said, then you got to tell my daughter and my wife I'm dead because I couldn't sit down and cry. He was like, hell no. Yeah.
Or is an interview with Della Reese, if you get a chance, look it up. Mm-hmm. And she's talking about the day that Red Fox passed, transition. And she said, as they were standing in the hospital and his wife is crying because they've just delivered the news that he has transitioned. She said, one of the producers said, what we going to do with this script? In front of his wife. In front, and this is Della Reese's words. Well, what we supposed to do with the script? No empathy, no sympathy. So that's why I am saying to us now in this entertainment industry, you've got to prioritize. Mm-hmm. And if you're no means they don't want to deal with you, you don't want to deal with them. So, it's understanding what's most important. Mm-hmm. And you have so many of our big stars now, and they're telling you, get that bag. What Steve Harvey say? Forget integrity. Get that money. Well, brother, because he said, you're going to let your family crumble over some integrity. Well, if you have no integrity, brother Steve Harvey, your family's already crumbled. And because you pull up to a 22,000 square foot home, if you have no integrity, when you put that key in it, like you're putting it in putting it in sand, you're putting it in something that it can't stand on. So it's the things that we put out there to our community. And that's why I dug your father, baby, because he wasn't biting his tongue. And he said what needed to be said, but with love.
Yeah.
And with no arrogance.
Yeah.
So again, when you have folks that feed us bullshit, and excuse me for the babies watching, Auntie just said bullshit, but I don't know all the word is good. And your father was the best. Oh, he was the best. Listen here, I was just like, Bernie, you ready? Let's go get him, baby. Because the way he said MF, I was like, yes. And he had combinations, Je'Niece, like nobody could do. Yes. They would say, if Bernie said some of the stuff he said now, today, he would be in trouble. No, he wouldn't. Because he always said it out of love. Mm-hmm. We always knew that brother loved us. I don't care what and that's what I tell people. You can say anything. They're like, Monique, you scared now because they canceling? I said, baby, they done tried to cancel me. Where I'm going? Yeah, when you get work, okay, you got to go back in the lab and get some more. It didn't work. What? Yeah. Oh, Bernie be in trouble. No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't, because you knew his heart. Yeah, that's the difference between talented and gifted.
I love it. Yeah. And you're in the same vein. Like, you are that truth teller. Like, one thing that we know, if you said it, we know it's true. We know that. Like, there's never, when you hear people talk, I've never heard anybody go, oh, I don't believe it. Like, no, we know when it's coming out of your mouth, we know it's the truth.
I don't think that people I think, let me get my words right. Right. Because, I'm a cusser and I'm trying to make sure if the babies is watching, I don't say the things. I don't think it's that they don't believe it. They can't believe I'm saying it because of the package that is being delivered in. I'm a fat Black woman, Je'Niece.
That's what I was going to say that. Because that, for me, like, everything that you're saying about my dad, I'm like, we can say the same thing about you, but you don't get the same accolades that he does. Like, people praise him for it. And then sometimes with you, it's like, and you get the backlash because of that. Yeah.
And I'm okay with it. I got a big head, size 11 feet.
Me too.
We can take it, baby. Okay. We sturdy girls.
Yes.
You can't knock us down. You see that? I came right back. I came right back. I came right back.
I love it. And speaking of coming right back, like, your latest special, My Name is Monique.
Yes.
First of all, it's amazing.
Thank you, baby.
Brilliant. Yes. But how did it feel to finally get your just reward, so to speak, with Netflix? Because that was another like ongoing thing. And there were some people, you got backlash again for that. But at the same time, there were other people that came forward. Wanda Sykes, like with Viola Davis. I remember her talking about like saying thank you, because these are the things that people don't talk about. So when you finally get that, like your just rewards, how did that finally feel?
I remember when it first happened, right? And they offered what they offered. My husband looked at me and said, Mama, they're going to fix it. We're going to be all right. I remember when I first got blackballed, my husband took my hands and said, Mama, we're going to be all right. And I believed him. So we always knew that we were going to be all right. And people say, I know you want to go, nah. No, I don't. What I want to say is, when I'm no longer here, and that little girl who ain't here yet, and they tell her what she can't do, and they tell her what they won't pay her, and they tell her what she ain't worth, I just want her to press a button and see a woman named Monique. And I want her to hear me saying to her, you worth everything as long as you believe it. So it ain't even about me, Je'Niece. It's about the ones that I'll never get a chance to lay my eyes on. Just like the ones that I never got a chance to lay my eyes on. I never got a chance to lay my eyes on Moms Mabley. I never got a chance to lay my eyes on Ida B. Wells. I never got a chance to lay my eyes on Hattie McDaniel. But damn if they ain't talking to me. Damn if they ain't talking to me. It's because of those women that I was able to say, I won't let you treat me like that. And I don't care about the backlash. I don't care about what y'all got to say, because those women took the ass whippings for me. They took them, baby. Her name is Sylvia Tremore Morrison. She's still alive today. She was doing comedy now for 50 years. The first Black female writer on Saturday Night Live. But when you look it up, they got her down as a PA. So when you ask me, how did it feel? Incredible. 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 When me and my husband were standing in that bathroom and we wrote that show together, and I'm looking at this king who told me when they first made the offer, we're going to be all right. And I get to walk out on that stage, and my husband's sitting there at Video Village and he's watching it. And my husband get a chance to interview me, and we were best friends from 10th grade, 14 years old. How does it feel? Is my feet on the floor? Because darn if I ain't floating, y'all see me. Okay, that's why I done gained some of this damn weight back. It's AI. That's what it is.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Like, it's just watch, like you can feel it in watching the special. Like you could feel, to me, watching it, it felt like as each moment went on, you just became more and more free than you already are. And it was just amazing to watch, because you share, it's funny, but it's moving at the same time. And you share a lot of deep truth. I mean, you talk about stuff that people, that a lot of us can relate to, but a lot of us wouldn't say.
Yes.
And you do it in a way where we're not like, ooh, and we're also not laughing at you, but with you.
Come on.
Like, when you and Sydney said, okay, this is how we're going to write, this is how it's going to do. Did you set out to just say, I'm just letting it all hang out?
I had been doing bits and pieces of it for years, right? I had been doing bits and pieces. And he said to me, Mama, your story is incredible. And that's my name is Monique. You're introducing yourself to these folks after the fight, after the victory. So, and here's what made me look at some folks and say, you crazy. They was like, did y'all see how much she cussed?
I was going to say that too.
I wanted to say, you tender niggas. When did y'all get so tender? Tender. Tenderonies. Tender love, tender love. What? So, it was just that night when we came home, we were quiet because we really didn't know what to say. Mm-hmm. And then once we saw it, we sat there in that bed, Je'Niece, and we cried. Like we just held on to each other like, woman's when you don't back down, baby.
I love it. Y'all, like this, we could package this and sell it as like just a like empowering series for people, well, especially women, because you're saying things that, again, I think people take for granted, especially when we look at you celebrities. We think, oh my gosh, life must be great and grand. And I think that empathy gets lost because you all are privy to, things that most of us, on this side of things will never experience in life. And so to see you walk these challenges with your head held high and you just keep being unapologetically yourself, it's just like, and just to hear you say, it's not even for me, it's for when I'm no longer here, it's for the little girl who will come after me. That's just, thank you. Thank you for being you. Truly. Truly. I saw you say you've always been a person of love, but you haven't always been a person of maturity.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta do your homework, little birdie.
Listen. First of all, like, I'm a fan, first of all, so you gotta take it in on a regular day. But no, I gotta do my homework. But I remember when you said that's, you watch interviews and there's just parts that stick out to you. That always stayed with you. And so now on this side of things, like now you are a person of maturity. What has helped you grow into that?
My husband, baby. A lot of us have been taught, don't listen to no black man. A lot of us have been taught, black man can't give you nothing. Black man can't do nothing for you. And he got to be a 6-figure, what they call him now, high quality or high dollar.
Value, yeah. You got to be high value man.
Value man. All these things. You've got to have a man of integrity. You got to have a man of honor. You got to have a man that's unconditionally going to love you through. For me, my husband loved me through my mental illness. He loved me come on now. He loved me in a way, baby, that no one on the face of this earth has ever loved me. Now, my grandmother Mimi, she loved me in a way that I could do no wrong, which didn't help me to mature. I mean, if I shot 6 people, my grandmother would say, what them niggas do to her? I'm not going to be wrong. My grandmother thought I was still a virgin, baby, and I didn't have children. Okay, that's how special she thought. How special and sweet she thought I was, baby. She was like, you can't do that. And I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. Okay, and I got babies. But it was my husband, my best friend, my brother. He's had all these hats. And a lot of black women would say, why do you call him daddy? Because he's raising me. He's raising me. My father probably stopped giving me what I needed when I was around 13 years old. So now you got a woman that's 13 and now I'm 35 and now I got a bunch of money, what we consider to be a bunch of money. Let me just be real clear about that, okay? Now I got this money. Now I'm taking care of everybody. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna make me grow up? But when we were just best friends and when we got together, this is what he said to me. He said, when we were best friends and you were married to other men, you were not my responsibility. You were my sister, but not my responsibility. As my wife, you are my responsibility. And there are certain things that will not be tolerated, will not be accepted, my husband has never raised his voice to me. Now, we've been married for 17 years, but best friends since we were 14. And I ain't never seen him have a bad day. Since we were 14, I've never seen this man have a bad day. I done seen him have to check some. I done seen him have to say, let's have a conversation. And when he's just smiling, just as humble. So when people would say, oh, her husband is the problem, he's the problem. And my husband would say, Mama, to say no is difficult. Especially when it comes from a black man on black. When they've been so used to hearing yes, he says, so no, it's okay when they say we're difficult. It's okay. You don't have to defend that. But what you have to say is what makes us difficult. What makes us difficult. So it was my husband that grew me up. And even at 55 years old, there's still times where he has to say, come on, let's talk. And I'm grateful for that because it makes me a better mother. It makes me a better friend. It makes me a better entertainer. Mm-hmm. See, I don't know, had me and my husband not been together, that I would have been courageous enough to say those things on that stage that night. Because when I walk off, who do I turn to? Mm-hmm. When I walk off, who's going to understand what I just said? Who's going to hold me? Mm-hmm. Who's going to? And it was that man that every turn I made, he was right there, Je'Niece. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something else. They keep trying to put me in the LGBTQ community. Je'Niece, they keep trying to put me in the community.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They said, welcome. You are a member now.
She said, you did. I told y'all what my thoughts was. I told you what I was thinking. I said, I'm not going to go through with it because they're going to put me out of the group because certain things I won't do. No sugar. No baby girl. I don't want no Kit Kat. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. We cannot hold hands. Sugar, that's not what this is. And then you want a relationship. Why are you what are you doing? None of your business, bitch. I'm with my family. What's happening? Why are you? Are you let my friend grow up? So they will put me out, Je'Niece, right? Was crying. That man greeted me. Because I'm having so much fun with you. So it's a good one, right?
Yes.
So my grandmother, Mimi, right? Mimi was supposed to come to California and stay with us for 2 weeks. Okay. And then she was going to go back. So we get to the airport, Je'Niece. I said, Mimi, where's your ID? And she pulls out her Sam's Club card with a picture on it. I said, Mimi, this is your Sam's Club's card, sugar. Where's your license? She looked at me and said, I don't know. So I told my assistant, I said, listen, my grandmother got a Sam's Club card that needs to get her on this plane. All I need you to do is get her on this plane. She said, yes, ma'am. She came back with a red coat. She said, let's walk her to the plane. Let's walk her to the plane, right? Now, she's supposed to be there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, right? She wound up staying a whole year, okay? And this is when I knew I got a beautiful man. I got a great man. She used to like to go see the mountains. The mountains in California are beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So one day the family going to go see the mountains, okay? So she can't step up in the truck. So my husband says, Mimi, put your hands around my neck. I'm going to lift you and put you in the truck. So he done lifted my grandmother and put her in the truck, right? We get back home. I'm in her room after I done gave her, shower, cleaning up, getting ready for bed. She grabbed my hand and said, hey, did you see that man pick me up and put me in that truck like that? So I said, yes, ma'am. She said, baby, if I was 70 years younger, I'd be for your money on that one. And then she stopped and she said, Nikki, I'm glad I lived to see it. You got a great man, baby. At that point, Je'Niece, I didn't give a damn. There was nothing nobody could say to me about my husband because my grandmother validated it. My grandmother validated it because she didn't have some men in her life. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I said to her, because she was in her 80s, I don't know the exact age because she had IDs with 3 different years on it. Okay, then. All right, then. It's what she did. Right. It's what she did. I said to her one time, and this is when she, we went outside, and my grandmother had never shopped a full retail store. She always shopped secondhand, right? So this particular day, I said to one of my girlfriends, I said, listen, go out and get my grandmother a full wardrobe. Everything, right? So we out in the jacuzzi. Now she in the jacuzzi with all her clothes on. I did not do to say, you're not supposed to get in this jacuzzi with all your clothes on, Je'Niece. Right? So I said to my grandmother, because now I'm a woman, and women have womanly needs. We're still women. So I said, Mimi, when last time you had a maid? Because if you would like one, I could set it up to get you a man because you're still a woman. Now, it can be a 2-bagger. She said, well, what is a 2-bagger? I said, well, we're going to put a bag on your face and his face. I want to see this when it's happening because I don't want you to feel funny about it. Bag come off, you still don't have to see the face of the person. My grandmother took me by my hands, Je'Niece. It's when she became not my grandmother. She became a woman. She said, Nikki, I done had enough niggas in my life to last me for a lifetime. So if I don't never have another one, I'm good. And then she went back to, you're the prettiest baby. I said, you're not going to ask over that. Because I'm trying to figure out where I came from. How come I'm fast? How come I done been around the way? Okay, because my mother told me she only been with 2 men in her life. I don't know if it was a lie or not, but I said, shame on you. But my grandmother, baby, she said, they done had enough for the rest of my life. So it was right.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I love that you all had these moments together because so many of us don't get to have those moments. And so many of us don't get to see our elders for human beings. We prop them on this pedestal of they're not human. So I love that you all had that.
So that's why in life, Je'Niece, I don't have any complaints. I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets for the things that I've done that I've had to correct. I've had to call some folk up and say, I need to apologize to you. I've done it. So I don't have, if today is my last day, guess what? I had a great time.
Oh, man. And we had a great time being on the ride that you led us on. Thank you so much. Yes.
You know how special you are? Can I tell you how special you are? I'm going to tell you how special you are, right? And we grown, so we can have grown people conversation.
Yes.
The night your mommy and daddy got together and the explosion happened. Okay.
Not the explosion.
The explosion happened, right? You won. You won.
Yeah.
When that explosion happened, millions didn't make it.
Yeah.
But you did. When my father's explosion happened, millions didn't make it. But I did. And when you come to that realization of just how special you are, people can't rattle you, baby.
I love it. Love it. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. Y'all take in everything she's saying because Monique you've been dropping jewels like this whole time.
That's all right here. You can't see it.
That's because he knew I was about to bring it back to him. Not because he knew I was about to bring it to him. Like all good things, unfortunately, must come to a close. But final question, since this is the Bernie's Daughter podcast, what do you miss most about my dad?
is humanity. It's humanity. Bernie made everybody feel special.
Mm-hmm.
He made everybody feel like they was important and they was somebody, and he wasn't going to let go. So his gift, undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
But that brother's humanity was far bigger than his gift.
Yeah.
And I think that's a gift too, being that man. You got money, you got houses and cars and trips, but you will still get a hot dog on a piece of loaf of bread and put
and go to Old Country Buffet to eat. Yes, like I'd be like, dude, Old Country Buffet for real? That's what you want to go? Like, yeah.
So that's what I was sadness.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how much this has meant to me. I so appreciate and love you so much.
I love you.
Thank you.
Your daddy would be so proud of you.
Thank you.
Keep going, baby, because you got something to say. Because it's important to you like your mama did. Keep going, keep sharing, and do it unapologetically.
I will. Thank you. This has been a most wonderful episode of the Bernie's Daughter podcast. I am your host, Je'Niece McCullough, known to y'all as Bernie's daughter. And like my father before me told y'all, I ain't scared of you. You know the rest. Love y'all. Till next time, who you with?